Welcome back to Inside South Florida. Just how safe are those full-body airport security scanners? Well, here to talk about that and the benefits of MRIs is Dr. Edward Dauer. Dr. Dauer, always good to see you because you're a fellow Cane, and we love having people from the U here. All right, so we're going to talk about some really interesting stuff today, airport scanners, MRIs. Let's start with this. Most people probably know what an MRI tube looks like. Maybe they've had one. But when reading the notes preparing for this interview, I was fascinated by how it works. So if you could give a maybe not too scientific explanation of how an MRI machine works, I think it'd be really interesting.
An MRI is really a great breakthrough in imaging. It's called magnetic resonance imaging, is what the initials stand for. And it uses a large magnetic field and radio waves. So it doesn't use any radiation, so no ionizing radiation. There's no possibility of damage from cancer or causing problems with the radiation. And what it does is basically magnetizes your body. We send a radio wave at you, which doesn't cause any biological harm. And from the signal your body sends back, we get the images reconstructed on a computer. The advantage of the MRI, it's the only really good test to be able to see the small parts of your body that are not bony, such as the disc, the ligaments in your knee, the ligaments in your shoulder, the spine. So anything in the nervous system or the ligaments and tendons, the ideal exam of choice is the MRI, and it has the additional advantage of no radiation.
And would those be the primary reasons you would choose that over a CAT scan and an X-ray?
Yes, you would do an MRI if you had an injury to your back, if you had an athletic injury for your knee, let's say playing football.
So theoretically, a UM basketball player could get injured playing on Dauer Drive and then need an MRI, and it would just all come full circle.
Absolutely. In fact, that's very common to have the MRIs done very early in sports injuries to assess what type of injury, and then you can use that also to see if there's a need for physical therapy or other treatment, and perhaps eliminate or avoid surgery, which may not be necessary.
So no, I don't want to get too far off topic, but I think you bring up a great point. There are so many athletes down here, so many weekend warriors. People play golf and they play tennis and they might hurt their shoulder or knee. And a lot of times, even friends I know just ignore it. You know, oh, it'll go away. I'll put some ice on it or whatever. Do you recommend anytime there's a tweak to go to a doctor because maybe you get that MRI?
I recommend that anytime you have a sports injury that bothers you more than a few days or starts getting worse or impairs your ability to walk or do your activities of daily living, your normal functions, such as getting dressed, lifting packages up, walking. Anytime it impairs your normal abilities and it doesn't get better in a few days and perhaps may even increase, to see a physician. It's always good to see a physician and let him or her make the decision whether you need an MRI or not.
Okay, let's talk about something that is so fascinating, and that is the airport security scanners. Now, you're part of a committee that evaluates the safety. Talk to me about your role and what you were looking for there.
Yes, there used to be two types of scanners in use at the airports that the TSA was using other than the magnetometer. There was the one that went out of service a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago, was the one using X-ray ionizing radiation. They took that out because the official reason was that they couldn't adjust the software properly to take away the birthday suit images. Now they've been using what's called a millimeter wave scanner. That's the glass tube you go into and it rotates around and you have your hands up. And that gives you an image. It basically takes a very, very high frequency radio wave. It reflects it off your body and gets the image to see if you're carrying any concealed weapon or package or something that doesn't belong there. Congress mandated to the National Academy of Sciences, which is one of the major scientific organization. It's an elected organization of the top scientists in the United States. It's part of the national academies. They mandated the National Academy of Science do an independent, nonpartisan study on the safety of these scanners to make sure they are not dangerous to the public. There were government studies done before, such as by the FDA, and there are standards set forth. But Congress wanted an independent study, not related to politics, just to prove that they are safe for the public. Because we have an average of maybe 100 million people a year going through these scanners. So National Academy of Sciences, through nominations and recommendations, they picked 14 scientists and researchers from across the country, and I was the one picked through the University of Miami to be one of the 14 scientists to do an 18-month study as to the safety of these scanners. So that started earlier this year, and we have about another year left to complete the study.
Are you able to give us any preliminary results? Are you able to talk about it at all?
I can tell you that we do have full access to the machines. I was just at another one of our meetings in Washington several weeks ago when we went to the TSA facility by Reagan Airport. We went behind the scenes. We saw the machines with their covers off. We were able to see how they operate, how they do their testing, and how they do their calibration. And we also have the ability now to do our own independent testing for the safety and reliability of those machines. So we're in the process of writing up a consulting agreement for a company to come with the equipment and do the actual measurements. And we also will have the ability to be there to supervise and monitor the way they perform the measurements at 4 different airports across the country.
So point blank right now, people watching right now, should they have any trepidation about going through these machines as they get ready for their summer vacations?
From what we know right now, there is no reason for anyone to be concerned. There is no evidence of any of the existing studies that they are any danger to the public or present any problems. So I would tell everybody to relax and not worry about it. And what we hope to do is confirm with our report that the FDA study done previously was indeed correct, and there is no problem with that. The one questionable area is people who have implantable medical devices. So as an example, if you had a pacemaker or an insulin pump or a functional electrical stimulation device, the FDA did do studies on those and found them to still function perfectly and not be having a problem. But some of the manufacturers on their website indicate that you should opt out of the millimeter wave scanner and perhaps be hand screened or patted down and avoid this type of scanner. But there has been no reports of any device failing. There's just a difference in the manufacturer's data that they put on the website versus the FDA study.
So we have only about a minute left. Pregnant women, small children, can they go through these machines?
Yes, they can go through those,
okay.
No problem. There's no evidence yet of any harm to anybody, whether they're pregnant or small children or people of a depressed immune system. But again, we haven't done our independent study, but unless there's some major surprise out there that we don't know about, now I would expect our study to complement the FDA study, but we are totally independent and non-biased. I'm not saying that was the case with the previous scanners using X-ray. There was a lot of controversy regarding that, but that was the subject of a National Academy of Sciences study that was done and hasn't been published yet. So I would suggest that if people are interested in whether the X-ray scanner is safe or not, there'll be an oncoming report that will be released soon from the National Academy regarding those. But it's sort of a moot point because they're not in use anymore. Right. But they may resurface again in a revised technology. So it's always good to be aware of what's happening.
All right, well, great to talk to you, and we'll have you come back. Last question is, if people want to inquire about MRIs, want to talk to you, how can they find you?
Anyone interested or wanting further information, you can call 954-735-6000 and ask for a physician referral if they don't have a physician, or if they do, you can call outpatient to schedule an exam.
Okay, Dr. Dauer, good to have you on.
And thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, you got it.